What's going on, everybody? Josh Engleman for Awesemo.com, and I am back with my NBA DFS contenders on FanDuel for Tuesday, March 2nd. Now, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you know when this and all of our other content goes live. Follow me on Twitter at Josh Engleman so you can get updates to these sim results as we get closer to lock. And finally, let me know in the comments section who are your favorite options on FanDuel for today's slate. Who do you like from my list? Who do you hate from my list? Let me know in the comments. Daniel Tice, Chris Middleton, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Will Barton, and Desmond Bane round out the bottom of my top 10. Who will be the favorites? The top 5 plays on this 6-game slate? It's time to find out. First up, we're going to the big man center, 11K NIKOLA Jokic, projected for 56 fantasy points. The goal is 60. He hits the optimal lineup 28% of the time. Now, he had a monster day yesterday. They're on the back-to-back, and he's had a lot of monster days as of late. We're talking 1.55 fantasy points per minute in 36 minutes, 30% usage, 27 points, 11 rebounds, almost 8 assists, 2 stocks, pace up spot against the Milwaukee Bucks, which is definitely helpful. Good spot, too, against Brook Lopez. He'll be able to stretch him out. Really creates some matchup nightmares for Milwaukee. I love getting to Jokic. I don't mind that it's a back-to-back. I don't see any reason to get away from him. The center position makes it easy to get to him. There are some sort of not fun things that you'll have to do to pay down, whether that's playing Desmond Bane or Will Barton or Daniel Tice. You're going to have to free up a little bit of salary, but I do prefer Jokic to Giannis in terms of guys that are very highly priced. And at 1.55 in a pace-up spot against Milwaukee, I can't get away from him. He's doing too much on the floor right now, so I love Jokic today. Now, this one's easy. Number 4, Ja Morant, point guard eligibility, 7,100, projected for 38. The goal's 47. He's in the optimal lineup 30% of the time. Taking on the Washington Wizards, massive pace up spot. They gain 4 possessions over their average. That's like 2 fantasy points for Ja, maybe more. 33 minutes, 1.15 fantasy points per minute. We're talking 21 points, 7 assists, 4.5 rebounds, 27% usage rate against Washington. Now, Washington's been playing better, but we're still not worried about them as a defensive matchup. The pace is fantastic. I hope this game turns into a track meet. I hope this is just Ja and Russ and Beal going back and forth and back and forth. This spot looks fantastic. So, Ja Morant today, because of that $7,100 price tag, just way too cheap. He was playing really well at the beginning of the season, and I think he's going to start cooking again in the second half. 7,100 is going to be too cheap for Ja Morant in, let's say, 3-4 weeks. Get there now. Ja Morant, number 4. Staying in the same game, number 3, Russell Westbrook, also point guard eligible, 9,600, projected for 50, goals 55.5, optimal lineup 31% of the time. He's been playing great offensively. Normally a 1.3 fantasy point per minute guy. I've got him in here right now, 1.44. That's 35 minutes at 33% usage. 23, 10, 9.5. So basically projected for a triple-double today. Neutral pace spot for Washington, but I think Memphis is going to be coming along for the ride on a little bit of a pace up spot. There's no reason to get away from Russ here. Both he and Beal dominate the offense for the Wizards. Russ is going to be well north of 30% usage. Beal going to be well north of 30% usage. These guys are just really difficult to get away from, particularly when you have someone like Russ under 10K projected for essentially projected for a triple-double out of the gate. I'm loving this spot. While he's healthy, you got to get there. And just like Ja Morant, I expect Russell Westbrook to be over 10K on FanDuel shortly, so long as he stays healthy. Next up at number 2, we're going to Paul George. Just 7,900 at shooting guard, projected for 42. The goal is 50. He's in the optimal lineup 35% of the time. Now, we saw Paul George minutes. They took a little bit of a step up the last time out. He had been slowly working his way back. So to project him for 34 minutes here seems reasonable. That's 1.22 fantasy points per minute, 30% usage, 24, 6, and 5. There's no reason that Paul George should be 7,900. This price is just wrong. It is a pace down spot against Boston, but Boston hasn't looked all that good as of late. We'll get into the Paul George, Kawhi versus Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum sort of Spider-Man pointing at each other meme. I mean, that's the goal for Boston at the very least. But for right now, I can't imagine Paul George not being one of the most popular plays on the slate. To be able to roster him at a sub 8K price tag just feels incredibly wrong. Much like Ja Morant, Paul George is going to be way more expensive than 7,900 in a couple weeks, so you got to get there now. Now, before we get to number one last reminder, hit that like button. You know how I love those likes. Subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell, and then follow me, this guy right here, at Josh Engleman on Twitter, so you can get updates to my sim results. I'm on the strategy show tonight, or today rather, with Alex Baker. No Lofty today, but I will be on with the boss man. No live before lock for me. So keep your eyes peeled in that 5 to 7 window. There's no telling when I'm going to drop an update. I'm going to try to sneak it in between news. 6-game slate should make it easy, but the only way to get that news is to follow me on Twitter. And finally, the number one play of the day, and I am not comfortable with it at all, but he is the number one play by a mile. It's NERLENS NOEL. Now, power forward eligibility, 5,500, projected for 33, goals 41, optimal lineup, coin flip, 49% of the time. We've seen NERLENS NOEL play 40 minutes a game over his last 2, now that we have Taj Gibson out, and obviously still no Mitchell Robinson. I can't give him that sort of projection. I'm giving him 33. I think that's a pretty reasonable stance to take. Even if you take him to 32, it's not going to matter. He's the number one contender. That's a fantasy point per minute over 33 minutes. You can see 33 minutes, 33.1 fantasy point projection. 9 points, 9.4 boards, 1.5 steals, and 2.8 blocks. We're talking 4 stocks. 12 of his 33 points are made up from just steals and blocks. That's going to be the big key for Noel. If he gets a couple blocks, yay. He's probably printing money. If he doesn't, probably not, because 9 points and 9 rebounds aren't going to get it done. It's pace neutral against San Antonio, but I think this spot looks good. It's not going to matter if it's Jakob Poeltl. It's certainly not going to matter if it's LaMarcus Aldridge any longer, or Drew Eubanks, I guess. I see no way that NERLENS NOEL is not the chalk play of the day, given this salary and given the minutes with both centers, well, with Mitchell Robinson and Taj Gibson out. So I'm saying it right here, NERLENS NOEL, the number one contender on today's slate. Alrighty, folks, that will do it. Those are my NBA DFS contenders on FanDuel for Tuesday, March 2nd. We'll be back again tomorrow with another edition of the Contenders, but you should come tune in, 6:30 a.m. Eastern Time, the process show that runs Monday through Friday. We only have 2 more contenders this week before we head off to the All-Star break, so don't miss out on them. They're too good. They're way too good. Thank you guys for joining me. Good luck tonight. Have a good night, and then I will see you again tomorrow morning.